Okay, and welcome back. So on the far end here we've got a oval offset raised boss here, and so what we want to do is create said raised boss. So I'm going to select this plane, not plane, face up here. Now when I do select that face, I get this pop up here. Now one of the little tricks or problems that you could possibly fall into is if you want to create a sketch on a face of existing geometry. Alright, if you look at this one here, this little icon here, it's the actual, and you hover over it, you can see it's edit the sketch. Now it's editing the sketch that created that plane, that face, so which would be the L-shaped sketch that we created on the front plane, be it that's a different plane to what this is on. What we want is down the bottom here a new sketch, and you can see in the little icon here in the corner you'll see a little asterisk there. Alright, so I'm going to select that one to create my sketch. Click out in the graphics area to deselect everything. Again, now I'm looking normal too. I'm looking normal to this face here, and what I want is an oval. Now believe it or not, there's an oval tool, or they call it a slot tool. Now my last slot I created was an arc slot. Now I want to go back to a straight slot, but what I do want is a center point. Alright, center point straight slot. So I'm going to go with this one. I want it to line up, I want it to be in the middle here, so I'm going to select somewhere here. Now if you notice, at the moment there's a little white square with a horizontal line in it. When it's white, it's only an implied relationship. It's not going to actually lock it in. Alright, not going to lock it in Eddie for $1 million. What it's going to do is it will put it there, but it's not physically going to actually apply that relationship. If we want it, we need to add it manually later. So just bear that in mind. When you see a white relationship icon come up, it's not going to actually lock it in. If it's yellow, it will put it in. Alright, so I want this here. Alright, click there, and I'm going to come out. I want this again to be vertical. So see how when I snap it down to a vertical, I'm getting a yellow relationship. Alright, now this is the center point. It's going to want to know where the center point is. I will not use that dimension there because it's only a radial dimension. I will want the actual distance between center and center. So I'm going to click that there. And then the next one comes out is this here. Now notice the dimension that is up there. It is the overall width dimension, and this dimension I would actually like. Now on my drawing I'm only given 12 mil. That's a radius of 12 mil. But that's radius. We've got the width here, and the standard for a width slot is for a slot is for it to actually dimension the width. So I'm going to go 24. But if you don't know what 12 times 2 is, 12 times 2, and I'm going to press enter. It didn't put the dimensions in for me. I didn't have this checkbox. Oh well. It's put it in there for me, and that. I'm going to hit the escape key, and that's exited that. Now I do want to make that 24. I just have to press enter. I don't have to change it. The width of this is 26, and it has moved it off there. What I do want, notice this little point. Okay, so there's a little point there. I'm going to click on that, hold down the control key and select the origin. Now I can now add a horizontal relationship. So that means that that point is going to be horizontal with the origin. And that has now locked that in. What is left for it to do? How far in? Look at that. So how far in? That's 25 mil in from the edge. There. So now I've got my sketch fully defined. It's gone black down in the status bar. It's gone fully defined, and that completes that sketch, I can now jump straight into the feature ribbon bar and go extrude. So the depth of this, or the height of that, is 6 mil. I've just simply typed in 6 mil and press enter. And that's as simple as it gets when it comes to creating that there. Click the tick, and that has created that extruded boss there. So now I've got that, let's create the cutout as well. So this time I want it to go all the way through, so your choice. I can select this face, or again I can go to this face, or more specifically the top plane. Now I am more fan of sticking with my geometry, but it's up to you really. I could go for the top face and create my sketch, or I could simply select this face and again create a sketch on that face there. So I'm going to create a slot. I'm going to use the same center point slot. If I want to change it, I can change it and simply select one over here in the properties manager. I'm going to add the dimension this time. Actually, let's go a 2 point. So here I want it to snap into that point there, and again when I hover over this arc here, it should be giving me, there it goes, there's the origin there, I can snap that there. So I really didn't, oh here we go. So now I've got that, I can make it 12 mil wide, enter that, and it's added the dimension this time. Now it has added this dimension, but notice how it's, again, it's being driven, it's grayed out. Okay, it's being driven by the width of the slot before, or that raised boss slot. Okay, so the only thing that's required is the width of it here, and that's pretty much all I need. So I'm going to click the so again go to the feature. This time instead of an extrude base boss, it's an extrude cut. So I'm going to do the cut, and I want this to go through all. But if you notice when I go through all, notice how it goes all the way through there. I go through to next, this is doing exactly what I want. So it's just going up to the next face. It's not this face because the solid, it's ignoring that as it transitions between the raised boss and this feature here. So it just goes all the way through. Alright, so that's what I wanted to achieve. Click the green tick. I've now got that slot going all the way through, and that concludes this part of the tutorial.